So welcome to this Facebook Live where I'm going to be talking about the issue of ME/CFS and having to cancel. Obviously it's not an issue if you don't want to do something, but it can be challenging when there are things you want to do, you don't want to let people down and you're not sure whether you should be doing something. So I'm going to share 4 mistakes that people make, and I'm going to share some strategies for dealing with having to cancel or think about cancelling with calm and clarity. So Yana says hi. Thanks for saying hi, Yana. So why is this important? Well, first reason is obviously you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to increase your symptoms. And second reason it's important to address this is stressing about it. The decisions, shall I do something, shall I not, can just cause us stress. And of course, stress is hindering your body's attempts to heal. So 4 mistakes that people make. Number 1, people give themselves a hard time because they're not sure whether they should do something. Number 2, they doubt their decisions. Number 3, they worry what others think, and sometimes they put other people's needs before their own. And number 4, they can get into over-explaining, hoping that others will understand their decisions, why they're having to cancel or postpone something. So hi Doris. Doris is saying hello. So yeah, there's 4 mistakes that people make. So what do we need to do instead? The first thing we need to do is actually calm our mind, because we make better decisions when we're in a calm state. Now I have made a couple of videos about decision making, so if you pop to my YouTube channel ME/CFS Explored and do a search, you'll find a couple of videos on that. Okay, and I am sharing ideas that I wish I'd known when I was grappling with these issues. So that's the first thing. We need to calm our mind, because we don't make good decisions when our mind is a bit like a washing machine going round and round and round. Second thing we need to do is actually trust ourselves. What I notice is that often I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust in my ability to make good decisions. And actually, when I did do that first step, calm my mind, I was able to make better decisions. And one of the traits of people who are good at making decisions is they make decisions fairly quickly and they keep it clean. What I mean by that is once they make a decision, they stick to it. They avoid ruminating. You know, one of the things I do is I decide, okay, I won't do something, but then I'd ruminate on it. Did I make the right decision? Was that the right thing? And I would be stressing about it. And, you know, obviously that wasn't very helpful, because, you know, I might as well have just done the thing and enjoyed it. So make sure you benefit from whatever decision you make. If you decide to do something, rather than worrying, oh, is this the right thing? Just allow yourself to be present and use your judgment, discern when you've done something for long enough and when you need to say, okay, it's been great seeing you. Let's say you're planning to go for a meal and you decide after a certain period, okay, that's good. I've been here an hour or an hour and a half. I'll leave now. I've had some fun. I've had some connection. One of my tendencies, once I made that decision to go out, is I would push myself too hard and kind of overdo it. If you decide not to do something, then it's really important you benefit from that decision. So accept that you've made that decision. Let it go. Be patient with yourself. Trust that good things are going to happen in the future if you're banking some energy now, and make sure you capitalize on it. As I say, if you decide not to do something and then just spend the whole time stressing, did I make the right decision, then you're actually not putting some energy tokens in your energy bank. So it's really important that you can just say, okay, that's the decision I've made. I've decided to stay in. I'm just going to make sure I have a nice time, whatever I do. So, third thing, it's important to consider your needs, putting yourself first. Often, not everyone, but a lot of people with ME/CFS are people pleasers. They tend to put others first and others' needs first. Like to consider that self-care isn't selfish. I remember saying to someone, you know, sometimes people will accuse you of being selfish when you're not doing what they want you to do. Okay, and I remember someone saying to me, "Oh, you're being selfish," and actually, the reality was I wasn't doing what they wanted me to do. So get really clear on your boundaries, on, you know, what you do need, what are your limits. You know, what is it you can manage today? It might be, actually, I could manage a half-hour chat or a 15-minute chat, but I need to stick to that. And I remember having a couple of friends, and if I said to one of my friends, actually, I need to go now, she would be like, "Oh, don't go." And that was nice that she didn't want me to go, but I think she was putting her needs before my needs. Whereas my other friend, if I said to her, "Oh, look, I need to go now," she'd just give me a hug and say, "Bye." And it was said with love, you know, she wasn't glad that I was going, whatever. But, you know, she was more supportive of my decisions. So I talked about one of the mistakes being that we can over-explain. So actually we have to stop over-explaining and explain to people once. It might be really useful to craft a statement that works for you. Might be something along the lines of, you know, this condition is challenging because I sometimes don't know how much energy I've got, and if I overdo it, then I can feel really extremely fatigued for whatever, days, weeks, etc. So I am working on recovery, but, you know, what helps me is when people just listen to what I say and don't keep asking me the same questions. Even if you don't understand, just accept what I've said, be patient with me, be understanding. And, you know, that's what I would hope to be for you if you were experiencing this condition. So think about something. What is it you would like to say to someone, and say it once. It might be worth writing it down and actually practicing it, so that when those situations come up where you do have to explain to someone your situation, you don't really have to think about it. It's just automatic. Okay. And then if someone does ask you the same question again, you can just gently remind them, "Remember, we had this conversation about this," and then that's all you need to say. Okay. So craft the statement, use it, remind people where necessary. So the next tip, it's really important that people with ME/CFS work on cultivating compassion towards themselves. You know, you are doing your best, recognize that. Recognize that you're not saying no because you want to say no. You're saying no because you're trying to work out what's best for you and your energy. And forgive yourself. It might be that you're feeling tired because you've overdone it, you pushed your boundaries a bit too much. That's okay, we're all human, we make mistakes. It's important that we forgive ourselves for doing that, focus on learning from that, focus on, okay, what can I do differently next time? Mentally rehearsing that so that it becomes more ingrained. Next thing, people with ME/CFS do spend a lot of time trying to make other people understand the condition. I'd like you to consider this idea that it's not your job to get others to understand. That may be counterintuitive, but your job is for you to understand the condition. And when you're really clear about the condition and what that means for you in terms of your recovery and your self-care, then you don't actually need to explain things because you're just really clear. People get disappointed when others don't understand. I like to consider that it is a difficult condition to understand. Before I had ME/CFS, I had a couple of friends who had the condition, and I didn't really understand the condition until I got it. Okay, and if people really do want to understand the condition, then they can do some research. And they can really listen to what you're telling them. I have made a PDF called the 5 magic words someone with CFS wants to hear. And I've shared that with a lot of people, and I've had people say, thank you, that's really helped me so much, because I gave that to my parent, carer, whatever, and it helped them understand the condition. And I didn't have to sit there and explain it to them. So if you'd like a copy of that, do comment below and tag me. So type my name so it comes up, then I'll get a notification, or send me a private message on Facebook. If you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube, click the link below, send me a message, put the word 5 magic words in the message box, and I will send you that PDF. Okay, so next point is to understand why people might be wanting you to do stuff. It might feel like they're putting pressure on you, but often their motivation is good. They care, but they don't really understand the condition. Maybe they don't want you to miss out. It may be that they miss you being part of things. It may be that their motivation is a bit selfish because they want your company. But consider that their motivation is good. So it might feel like you're being pressured, but it is because they want you to be involved. So Yana saying 5 magic words. Okay, I'll send you that, Yana. So there's 6 tips. I'm going to give you bonus tips, which is, it's really important actually to identify the beliefs that you have around the condition, because that's going to inform your mindset. It's going to inform the way you think about having to make the decision to not do something. So if someone has the mindset of, oh, I'm never going to recover, then it makes it more difficult when they have to say no to something. If they have a strong sense of trust that, don't know how, but I am going to recover, then they are more likely to view the condition as being temporary. So consider that. What are your beliefs around the condition? What are your beliefs around yourself in terms of how you feel about putting your needs first versus other people? How do you feel about saying no to others? Do you feel comfortable doing that? Do you feel uncomfortable doing that? I was really not very good at saying no to people when I had ME/CFS, and I had to learn how to get better at that. A friend of mine said to me, you know, you have to practice saying no. And if your no is a maybe, then people will hear that as a yes and they'll keep pushing. Okay? If your no means no, then people get to understand that when you say no, you mean no. And you might change your mind. You might say no to something and a few days later think, oh, actually, I can do that thing, and get back in touch with the person and say, actually, I can meet you, whatever. So, Isabel says 5 magic words. Okay, I'll send that to you, Isabel. So consider that. So let's pause there and let's see if you've got any questions, any comments, any takeaways from what I've shared so far. I know there's a bit of a time delay between me speaking and you hearing me, so I'll give you a moment. Any questions, any comments? Okay, I'll keep going. I'll just kind of, in conclusion then, instead of over-explaining, explain once and remind people that we've had this conversation. Instead of worrying about what others think, put yourself first. Instead of giving yourself a hard time when you have to say no to someone, work on being compassionate towards yourself. Consider, is this person going to be thinking about this fact that you didn't go and meet them for a dinner date or whatever in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time? No, they're not. And instead of doubting your decisions, cultivate self-trust. Okay, the more that we trust in our decision making and allow ourselves to practice making decisions, the better we get at it. believe in your recovery. Thank you. You're welcome, Yana. So this is all really important because less stress and more calm supports recovery. I'd like you to consider, what would it be like to be okay with having to postpone or cancel something and to be at peace with that? What would that be like? What would that feel like? Okay, so we'll finish off with a little exercise, but before we do that, if you want more tips, do join my Facebook group. I'll pop the link below. At the moment, I'm running a 6-week course teaching people how to cultivate more calm. It's by donation, so if you'd like the link to that, send me a private message. As I say, if you're watching on YouTube, click the link below, put the word calm in the message box and I'll send you the link. It's a 6-week course. We're halfway through, but I'm decided to give people lifetime access to the videos and resources, and I'm sharing tons of resources and tools. I'm sharing the flip the switch technique, which we're going to do in a minute, the mindset maximizer, which is for helping you shift from dwelling on kind of negative events in the future and considering positive possibilities, and a simple strategy for boosting self-esteem. So if you'd like to join that, as I say, it's by donation. You're welcome to come and check it out. If it's not for you, you can leave the group. If you would like, if you're ready to do some deeper work one-to-one, then send me a message and I'll send you the link to a video where I talk about the 9 steps I focus on when I'm working with people. Again, just put the word 9 steps in the chat if you're watching on Facebook, or in the message box if you're watching on YouTube. I'll send you the link to the video, and after that, if you decide you'd like to have a chat further, we can do that. So Doris says, I'm sorry, I'm so fatigued, I guess I'll have to watch the replay. That's okay. Just if you do whatever you need to do, Doris, to take care of yourself. If you need to leave right now, that's completely fine. Do watch the replay. So let's finish off. I'll walk you through a really simple technique called flip the switch. So what I'd like you to do, obviously as long as it's safe for you to do so, is to close your eyes. Just make sure you're in a comfortable position. Ensure your hands and feet are in a comfortable position. And I'd like you just to straighten your posture, whether you're sitting or lying down. Just imagine there's a thread gently pulling at the top of your head so that your posture is good and your chin is down. And I'd like you just to take a nice, deep, slow breath, breathing in slowly through your nose into your belly, and breathing out just a little bit more slowly than the in-breath. So your out-breath is a little bit longer than the in-breath. And when we do that, we're accessing the parasympathetic state. And I'd like you now just to connect to that best version of yourself. That part of you that has the capacity for wisdom, calm, compassion, pragmatism, acceptance, patience, trust, and many other good qualities. I'd like you to consider that you've accessed this part of yourself many times. Maybe you were faced with a situation where a friend needed some support and guidance, and you just responded in a resourceful way. So just connect to that part of yourself. Some people like to give that part a name. Like to consider maybe you don't connect to that part of yourself often enough, or remind yourself of those qualities that you have. And now, as you continue to breathe in and out, slowly through your nose, as long as that's comfortable to do so, into your belly, breathing out again slowly, with the out breath being a little bit longer than the in breath. I'd like you just to put a smile on your face. No one can see you, so just add a smile as you continue to breathe in through your nose, into your belly. You might imagine your breath as a colour. As you breathe in, seeing that colour entering into your lungs, sending that oxygen into your bloodstream, nourishing the cells. And as you breathe out, just letting go of anything that no longer serves you right now, allowing your mind, your body to relax, soften and let go. And I'd like you to consider that when you go through those 5 steps that I've just guided you through, you're flipping the switch and accessing the parasympathetic state. And I'd like you to consider what it would be like if you were doing that a number of times during the day, just spending a few minutes to connect to that best version of yourself, to pause, to remind yourself of all those qualities that you have. And as I say, if you'd like to access that resource and a number of other resources and videos, do join my Calm course. If you've got any questions, do get in touch. When you're ready, I'd like you to just bring yourself back and just let me know how you found that exercise. Isabel says thank you. You're most welcome, Isabel. So, thanks everybody. If you've got any questions, as I say, get in touch. If there's a topic you'd like me to cover, do send me a message. But for now, I'll say bye for now.